Direct Connection is made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities and is made possible by the generous support of our members. Thank you. Live from Maryland Public Television, this is Direct Connection with Jeff Salkin.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for Direct Connection. Coming up tonight, how to be proactive about heart disease and heart health. That's coming up. First tonight, everybody has an opinion about this year's Super Bowl ads, what worked and what didn't work. Joining us for expert analysis is David Warshawski, CEO of Warshawski Integrated Marketing Communications. Thank you for being with us.
Great to be here, Jeff.
Good to see you again. So the ratings were down. I saw third year in a row, still 100 million people, which kind of makes it the Super Bowl of advertising.
It does. It is the Super Bowl of advertising. If you compare that to the World Cup in the United States, you had 25 million people tune in for that. You have over 100 million people tuning in. So all the eyeballs, the vast majority of eyeballs in the United States are concentrated on one place.
Say your agency wanted to buy a 30-second spot to promote the agency. What can you do in 30 seconds? What can't you do?
Well, there's a lot that you can do, and you saw the different varieties of ads that different brands were playing this year. But overwhelmingly, the counsel would be for most brands that a Super Bowl ad is not the right place for them to be spending their money, especially today with the digital marketing tactics that are out there, the ability to really finely target and to create exacting ROI. It's really only the deep-pocketed brands and those who want to be very aggressive who are going to advertise in the Super Bowl.
Whose line was it pre-internet that half of my ad budget is wasted? I just don't know which half,
I believe it was
right?
Ringling.
Ringling. Let's start with some of the spots that you liked. We have a couple of clips. Won't play the whole thing, obviously, but this is an unusual soap commercial. Take a look.
Yeah, just your typical Super Bowl car ad, right?
Or a hilarious beer ad.
Or whatever ad this is.
Whatever.
But it's a Tide ad.
What? It's a Tide ad.
What makes it a Tide ad?
There are no stains. Look at those clean clothes. What else would this be an ad for?
Diamonds?
A gift that lasts for
No, Tide.
It's time for a cold refresher.
Tide ad.
Fall into the sleep of you.
All right, so this goes on, and this played during the game. I have to confess, I missed a lot of the ads because the game was really good this year. Exactly. But they played little snippets along that theme. What did you think of it?
This was great. We've been waiting for some innovation in the advertisements during Super Bowl. We got two big innovations. So first was this spot. This is another Tide commercial. Essentially what Tide did was co-opt or hijack other companies' advertisements. So throughout the evening, you're wondering, is that an ad that's going to be for Tide or is that an ad for Old Spice?
Every time you saw a truck.
Right, you weren't sure where this was going. So a real stroke of genius, a great way to own the Super Bowl, money well spent, Procter & Gamble, touchdown, that was as well played as you possibly can get it.
Okay, but are they going to sell any more detergent next week because of it?
So that's a great question. That goes to the heart of, is this worth the money or is it not? So I would tell you that I think they will be selling considerably more detergent over the next month. But the question that a company like Procter & Gamble and Tide looks at in its competitive market space is, are we building the brand equity that makes a point of differentiation that when I'm standing trying to decide which detergent to buy, oh yeah, I remember that ad. That was really clever. Everything that is around Tide is always clean. I need things to always be clean. This is the right brand for me.
Let's remind our viewers, if you have a question or comment about your favorite Super Bowl ad, you can give us a call. We'll have the number up on the screen. You can also tweet your questions. The Twitter address is @MPT News. Now, there's a campaign that's made quite an impact. A lot of football buys. This beer ad that's been running in a lot of football games for Bud Light, and they've turned this nonsense phrase, dilly dilly, into something. They were on the air last night. What do you think of that?
So they really had momentum going into the Super Bowl, and I think they overplayed the hand and they didn't really execute well with it. In general, Bud Light has always had great entries into the Super Bowl. I think this year they came out in the middle of the pack. Had they stuck with the first ad and left it alone where the king says, we're completely out of Bud Light, but they've still got Bud Light, let's attack, and they all ran to attack, that still fit into the sort of overall approach they had taken. But introducing the Bud Night, it really started to fall downhill after that.
There was a spot that seemed moving. It was the voice of Martin Luther King Jr.
Right.
It was a truck commercial, but there was some negative backlash from that. What do you think?
I think it was reminiscent, and maybe they were trying to copy "And God Made a Farmer," that Ram commercial, which was really a standout a couple of years ago. And I think they just didn't think this one through all the way and the possible negatives for it. It's a shame because they had a great entry with the Vikings piece that aired a couple of minutes earlier. Really strong, really on brand, fun, captured all of the key points that we look for in scoring advertisements. Then to come back with this ad, wish they wouldn't have.
Let's take a phone call. Prince George's County, this is Harriet. Harriet, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Hi. You
Hi.
know, the commercial that I really enjoyed was the baby that was born without feet and she ended up skiing. I don't know, that should have been number one.
That was powerful. Thank you very much.
I thought it was.
Anything, Harriet, you didn't like?
I don't remember the Tide one. I mean, that's what you're talking about. That went over my head.
Interesting. Thank you very much. Let's talk about Budweiser. So we talked about Bud Light. This was a Budweiser ad that we have a short clip from that sort of goes in a different direction. Take a look.
I'll be right there.
Now, the storm is affecting thousands of families, people still in desperate need of aid.
When the night has come,
Where we at?
We've got cans ordered. This
and the land is dark, and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand.
The production in all of these spots is just beautiful. I mean, I guess if you're spending, well, that would have been at least a $10 million play. It was a minute long.
Correct.
You don't shoot it on your iPhone, I guess.
No, and that's something that gets lost in the conversation. It's $5 million for a 30-second spot, so an average of roughly $166,000 per second. But if you're doing a great commercial like that, you need to invest money in the production and the pre-marketing and the post-marketing. So most people are spending well above $5 million to put their ad together.
Now, is that one going to sell Budweiser indirectly?
So I think it reinforces the brand tremendously. We always score ads on our Warshawski Best model, and we look at 4 metrics. B, is it brand-centric? E, does it create an emotional connection with its target audience? S, does it stand out and is it memorable? And T, is there a clear target audience and a clear business goal? So here you're looking at Americana, hardworking Joe and Jill's doing the right thing by their country, very brand-centric, very emotionally tugging at the heartstrings. Stand out, who expects a beer company to fill up their beer cans with water?
I'd be really disappointed.
It'd be a
Unless
funny
I needed
surprise.
water, right. Let's go out to the phones, Montgomery County. This is Ken. Ken, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Hi. Yeah, at the beginning of the interview, David mentioned there were 2 innovative things, and the Tide commercial was one of the innovative ones. Did I miss the second innovative one?
Thank you, Ken, for the follow-up question. Appreciate it.
You did not, Ken. We didn't get a chance to talk about it. The second one, which was also tremendously groundbreaking, was the Mountain Dew Doritos commercial where you had Morgan Freeman in a rap battle against Peter Dinklage. I mean, this was so on brand for the two of them, but it's the first time in Super Bowl history, as far as I know, even advertising history, where you have 2 major brands in the same ad going head to head, but yet to the benefit of each of the ads. Incredibly well done, fun spot, perfect for who their target audience is.
Howard County, this is Judith. Judith, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Hi. I had a comment about Budweiser, the Budweiser ads.
Mm-hmm.
For many years, what made that company rather special, rather unique, and they were kind, they were interesting, they were humorous, was the use of those great big beautiful horses carrying the beer wagons and the creative ad writing that went along with it. It was great, but it was different. Now they're just a beer company. Who cares?
Thanks very much for the phone call. Was the only appearance of a Clydesdale in the Tide spot?
Yes, and it's actually a wonderful point is Bud moved away from some of the things it's done traditionally. And one of the most iconic, probably in most people's book, top 5 Super Bowl ads of all times is when the Clydesdale take a knee after 9/11.
Wow. Interesting. Let's go to Washington County, talk to Robert. Robert, you're on MPT. Go ahead.
Yes, I was wondering about the non-commercial where the coaches on both sides seem to be holding a Waffle House menu.
That would be a great product placement. I mean, certainly when the NFL does a instant replay review,
right,
they're holding up a Microsoft tablet,
right,
and then you see the guys squint into it, so you're not sure how.
Right. I didn't know that I saw Waffle House menus, but I think I know what you're going for. Product placement has become a big part of it. How you extend the life of a commercial and extend the value of your $5 million has become a big part of the game. If you remember in the past, the Bud was up. That became a catchphrase that lived well beyond the actual commercial and Super Bowl. I think Pringles this year was a great example of that with their Wow commercial, trying to create a new catchphrase that could extend beyond the Super Bowl.
So what's it like watching the Super Bowl at your house? You're there with a clipboard in front of the television?
I'm there with a computer taking notes. I'm the least fun person to watch the Super Bowl with. No beer, very little food, and just paying attention to something that I really love, both sports and the advertising industry.
Before we go, give me the state of marketing communications in just a minute. What are you focused on these days?
It's great, especially digital marketing. We just became a Google Partner Agency. It's a prestigious award for a Baltimore-based agency, and the ability to do very targeted digital marketing with clear ROI, and some of them are even free, some of the things that you can do, is really game-changing, especially for some of the mid-sized to smaller organizations that are out there.
And may not have $5 million for the airtime. David Warshawski, thank you very much, sir.
Pleasure seeing you.
Just ahead tonight, medical tips for a healthy heart. We'll be right back.
Got an unused vehicle going nowhere? Donate it to the one place that can take you any place. Visit mpt.org/vehicles and support the programs you love on MPT.
The MPT app puts our programs right at your fingertips, so you can choose when to watch, what to watch, wherever you want to watch it. Download it now.
What happens in Japan and Asia matters to me. And with NHK World's newsroom in Tokyo, I get the news live from Japan right at the start of my day.
New ideas come out of Asia all the time. NHK Newsline reports on business, technology, and world events from Tokyo to Bangkok.
Once in the morning gives me a heads up on the competition.
Every hour on the hour, the news I want from Asia.
Watch NHK World now on Comcast Channel 268 and Verizon Channel 480.
Are you turning 70 and a half this year? If so, you generally have to start spending down your retirement account. Even the minimum distribution can place you in a sticky situation. Luckily, you can now use your IRA to make tax-free gifts. Gifts up to $100,000 will never count as income, but always make a difference. That's icing on the cake.
Make your gift for this year before December 31st. Visit mpt.org/support.
Joining us in the studio now for Your Health is Dr. Jeremy Pollack, cardiologist at the University of Maryland St. Joseph Medical Center. Doctor, thank you for being with us.
Jeff, thanks for having me on.
Let's take a big picture view of heart disease. The death toll from heart disease is unbelievable in the United States. Are we making progress?
You know, if you look at the past 2 decades, we really haven't made a ton of progress. 700,000 Americans every year are going to have a heart attack. And out of that 700,000 that have a heart attack, 1/3 are going to die. And we really haven't changed a whole lot in the last 10 to 20 years.
You have a lot of tools, though, in terms of being able to assess somebody's risk. When, at what age, maybe, do you start thinking about that?
It's a really good question, Jeff. I tell my patients there's never an age that it's too early to start thinking about your heart health. Heart health is 90% of the time completely preventable. We talk about how our parents all had heart attacks and we have bad genes. It's because our parents didn't really live a healthy life. So they smoked, they didn't diet, they didn't exercise, they were overweight. So there are lots of things we can do from day one right now that can change our trajectory and change our chance of having a life-threatening heart attack.
Now, when you talk to somebody who is on the wrong side of that trajectory, what sort of response do you get? How often is somebody willing to do all the uncomfortable stuff, exercise more, change your diet, give up the trips to the fast food place that you're asking them to do?
I mean, I think it's apropos we're talking the day after Super Bowl, right? So you're faced with a plate of wings and a pizza and a Budweiser. No ad placement there. It's hard to make the right choice. And when I'm sitting across from a patient, you absolutely want to make the right choice. You're going to nod your head when you're talking to me. But when you're faced with the choice of healthy versus unhealthy, it is really hard to do.
Is heart disease reversible? To what extent? Like, how far along does somebody have to be before it's not reversible?
I would tell you it is always reversible. There's never a point that we can't change the trajectory that you're on. So I talk about it in the sense of smokers, right? You could be a smoker for the last 30 years. You stop smoking today, you've automatically given yourself a better chance at a longer life. It's the same thing with heart health. When you start making the right decisions today, you're changing your chance of having a longer, healthier life.
Do you think people have a good sense of their personal risk level? I mean, you can see somebody walking down the street and think, particularly if they're coming out of the fast food place, that's a heart attack waiting to happen. Are people self-aware in that respect?
No, unfortunately, I don't think anyone is. I think we live in a culture where it's not going to happen to me until it does. So it's very difficult to self-reflect and think, am I making the right choices day in and day out? And think, hey, heart attacks happen to other people. And unfortunately, heart disease, like high blood pressure, is a silent killer. And 1/3 of the time, your first symptom is your last, and you die from heart attack. So starting to think about it before you have to is really important and also very hard to do.
Remind our viewers, if you have a question about heart disease, prevention or treatment, give us a call. The number will be on the screen. You can tweet your questions. Twitter address is @MPT News. Typical visit that somebody might have to a primary care doctor is pretty short. Yes. And there's a lot to get done. So they're maybe not necessarily screening for heart disease. What would you prefer they be looking at?
I think, like we've touched on a little bit here, from day one, you're talking about prevention. So there are 8 or 9 things that everyone can do to prevent heart attacks. And that's appropriate diet, 30 minutes of exercise 5 days a week, maintaining a normal weight. And above and beyond that, making sure you don't have diabetes. If you do, making sure it's well-controlled blood pressure, avoiding smoking, avoiding overindulgence in alcohol, and avoiding high cholesterol. That's a lot to do in a 15-minute visit, but it's all achievable.
Let's take a phone call. Allegheny County, this is Lisa. Lisa, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. There is a group that comes through my town that does ultrasound screening for like $150, and I get the exact same screening from my cardiologist for $450. Is there really that much of a difference between, i.e., a training seminar versus what a cardiologist gives me?
Thanks very much. Maybe talk a little about how ultrasound's used in cardiology.
Lisa, it's a great question. Thanks for calling in. So take a step back, and the question I think you're asking is, what is a good screening test for the presence of asymptomatic, meaning you don't have symptoms, but you have cardiac disease. And if you came to my office and you're between the age of 40 and 70 and you have risk factors to develop or have heart disease, I always talk to my patients about the coronary calcium score. I don't think ultrasound is a good screening test. The coronary calcium score looks for calcium deposits in your coronary arteries, and those are the 3 pipes that provide blood flow. Over time, you can develop plaque or fatty cholesterol, and in that fatty cholesterol are calcium deposits, and they light up on a calcium score. It's a cheap test. Typically, insurance doesn't cover it, but it's $75 to $100, which I think is money well spent for a patient.
Does everybody develop those deposits?
It's a really good question. I think over time, an American diet, if you look at it, President Trump just had a coronary calcium score, and he had coronary calcium. I think over time, everyone will have a little bit of it. We all develop atherosclerosis and some sort of plaque, unless you're one of the few lucky patients and people that don't get it over time.
Can that be reversed? Have you ever seen somebody where the score was whatever and 2 years later it was a lower number?
Yeah, so I don't go by, we don't track coronary calcium scores. It's more binary, meaning you have it or you don't. And once we see that you have it, then we can reverse your trajectory by putting you on a risk modification, diet, exercise, and weight loss, and putting you on a cholesterol medication.
Let's take a call from Franklin County, Pennsylvania. This is Susan. Thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Hi. I was told this. I don't know if it's true or not, but I quit smoking 14 years ago. I feel a lot better from that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I was told that once you quit smoking, your lungs and everything that was damaged by the smoking would go back to normal in 7 years. Is that correct?
So there are 2 things that we talk about, your heart health and your lung health, and actually smoking affects all organs. So about 5 years after quitting smoking, your lungs go back to normal, or your risk of lung cancer goes back to if you weren't smoking. And I think don't quote me exactly, I think it's about 3 years after stopping smoking where your risk of a heart attack is the same as anybody else. So A, congratulations for stopping smoking. That is the #1 thing you can do for your heart health. And B, yeah, at 14 years post-stopping, you are at no more risk than anybody else at your age bracket.
Great news. Call from Baltimore County. This is Spencer. Spencer, thanks for the call. Go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, doctor. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for calling in, Spencer.
Quick question. What would be the signs and symptoms you would expect me to have before I have a heart attack? What's the usual symptoms?
Again, another really good question. Great questions tonight from your listeners.
It's a smart audience.
So, I think about it males versus females. Males typically present with the typical crushing under your chest tightness.
This is an active heart attack.
We're talking about heart attack pain. So heart attack pain, when you have the crushing under your chest bone, typically with exertion, that's something that gets me very worried. Women can have atypical symptoms, so any sort of indigestion, pain, new shortness of breath, pain in your back, neck, or left arm. These are all symptoms that I start to think about that you're having a heart attack. And I tell anyone in that age range, 40 to 90 years old, any symptoms that are concerning, it's either a call to your doctor or a call to 911, because early detection of a heart attack is essential to saving your life.
Fear of embarrassment maybe in people holding off, don't want the ambulance pulling up, or I don't want to go to the ER, go through the expense of that if it's not going to be anything.
Absolutely. There's a huge fear there, or just admitting that you're in pain. It's very difficult for patients, but I can't stress it enough that recognizing that you're having pain that is not normal for you, identifying it, and getting help is very important.
Prince George's County, this is Tony. Tony, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Yes, if I don't have insurance, is there anywhere that I can get testing for heart health or an MRI? Is it possible I can get an MRI? Some type of testing for heart?
Tony, you're in Prince George's?
Correct.
Okay, we'll get you an answer on the air. Thank you very much. What would you suggest?
Yeah, so Tony, I think it's a couple different questions. I think there's a population without insurance. It is a very difficult population to treat and take care of, but it is still just as important as anybody else. So I think obtaining a screening test, or finding a primary care physician that can help you navigate the waters of no insurance and affordability for your health care is extremely important before talking about tests like an MRI or further expensive testing.
So we talked about asymptomatic patients. We talked about people with massive symptoms. How about in between? Are there any symptoms that show up for people that would be worrisome to a cardiologist?
Yeah, I think it's the similar symptoms to what we were talking about before. And what I think about is stable versus unstable heart pain. So your unstable heart pain is similar to a heart attack, and that's what we worry about. So that's that crushing chest pain. It feels that impending sense of doom. Those are calls to 911. It's the slight pain that you're having where you used to walk a mile every day with your workout group, and now you can only do a half a mile. And because of that, when you get up a hill, you're starting to have a little bit of a weird sensation. You're more fatigued than you used to be. You're more short-winded than you used to be. Those are slight things that I start to worry about as a cardiologist.
Before we go, let's put in a good word for AEDs. People have seen them at the airport, at different office buildings, automated external defibrillators. Right. How hard are they for somebody to use if somebody's having a heart attack?
I'm a believer that an AED should be in every public space. I think anybody can use them in absence of training, and I can't stress that enough. I don't know if I'll get in trouble for saying that, but they are very easy. There are pictures on them. I think they can be, I think they are life-saving. So if you have sudden cardiac death, you die suddenly. If someone can put an AED on and use it effectively, you can save that patient's life. So they are extremely important.
Dr. Jeremy Pollack, cardiologist, University of Maryland, St. Joseph Medical Center. Thanks for the time.
Jeff, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
We appreciate that. Coming up Thursday on Your Money and Business, what some business owners are looking for from the General Assembly. Thanks for watching Direct Connection, and have a good night.
Your health segments are a co-production of Maryland Public Television and the University of Maryland Medical System.
This program was made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities.